Game over, man. Game over.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So serious.
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the InSession Film Podcast.
Welcome to episode 665 for December 10th, 2025. I am JD Duran, and I am co-hostless this week as Brendan decided to give it up. He decided to quit for this week alone. And I don't know why, other than I think he's working really hard. Or maybe he was intimidated of this week's guest, who has now become my co-host. And for those longtime listeners of InSession Film, they're going to love this, because joining me is the great Ryan McQuade. Ryan, welcome back, my friend.
I never thought I'd see the day Brendan just quit. Like just tapping out like Penn State mid-season, you know?
Exactly. Following the Franklin model.
Yeah.
The James Franklin model.
Not the Michigan model. They fired it.
Yeah, that's different. That's a different story.
That's
altogether.
a different model. You know,
Yeah.
this is the Penn State model, where it's like, you know what? Couple of losses.
I'm out of here.
Good decade of football. Get the fuck out of here.
See,
You know, no,
See ya.
it's great to be back. I miss Brendan.
Yeah.
Brendan knows I love him, and
Yeah.
and I was, when I found out the news he wasn't going to be here, I mean, I got really sad. I was crying in a quarter, and then
Yeah.
JD called me. He's like,
I know.
"We still got to do the show." And I was
we
like,
still got
"Okay,
it. Yeah, exactly.
all right. I'll
So
make it-
we gathered
I'll make it
ourselves, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Woo.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all joking aside, Brendan is working really diligently so he can be here for the rest of these episodes as we finish out our 2025 campaign. We have a lot of fun reviews on the horizon, but we are smack dab in the middle of award season. So we brought Ryan on to talk about it, to give us the lowdown, to break it down. And we're going to get all our art is sports on this episode. As we all know, that's what I love.
What was it like? Ryan Coogler said, like in the thing today in his article with in interview with Kyle Buchanan, he's like, "I'm not in the academy because I can't like vote on separating art, you know what I mean, and ranking art." And then I was like, "Oh shit, I know JD's gonna bring that up to you today." So that's why I decided to do it, because I knew the artist sports, sort of thing was gonna come up. And I mean, I gotta tell you, the last couple of weeks, with, not to make the side tangent already, but the college football playoff was really, everyone was all like into it and stuff. I'm like, God, I was just getting into the Oscar season, you know? I was just like,
Yeah.
who's the James Madison of award season this
Yeah.
time? Is that like Train Dreams?
Well, I was just about to say, I think what's so funny about college football discourse, especially on social media, is that you could take any tweet about the chaos of college football and replace the team name with a name of a title of a film, and it all works the same. It all works the same.
Listen, I've been on the receiving end of a lot of vitriol from the fan groups, which feel like a lot of like how Notre Dame fans feel this week and how BYU fans feel. And I was like, oh, so these are like the wicked fans. You know what I mean? These are like these are like
Exactly.
Avatar fans, that are really upset right now. So I get it.
Yeah, no, it is wild. And look, I'm sure there is a decent amount of crossover between film Twitter and sports Twitter. But for those that are not familiar, if you're a part of film Twitter and you have no clue what sports Twitter is like, just take a stroll. Just go over to sports Twitter for a moment and take a gander, because the irony is astounding. It is so funny to me. Like, I've said this a million times, but I'm not anti-Oscars. I understand the importance of it, and I have fun with it. I think from a purity perspective, I think it's a great thing. I love celebrating art and celebrating the best films of any given year, but that's not how we treat it, though. That's the problem. That to me is the problem. It's not the Oscars. It's how we approach it. It's how we treat it as sports.
I mean, when you have hundreds of people's are jobs that essentially are trying to get you to see things, or trying to get you interviews, or trying to get you
Yeah.
to or trying to push their movies.
Mhm.
Yes, it's very much like a team trying to maneuver and prop themselves up in politic to get
Yeah.
into the college football playoff. Like, I was watching
Exactly.
my Longhorns, and I was sitting there and I was like, oh God, we're like the Jay Kelly of this year. Like, we are like the movie that should be nominated
That's
for a ton of things, but it's just not going to happen because
Yeah.
we
You're like
lost
train dreams on the
yeah, we
outside
lost.
looking
No, we're
in.
like not even that. We're starting to become like, I mean, we're not after the hunt because we're not terrible, but we're a good thing that is just not as good as the other things inside its
Yeah.
own studio, let alone its
Yeah.
own conference. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Wow, I'm really dissecting a lot of my
Yeah.
therapy actually on
Look,
this episode.
the metaphor could go on forever.
It really
deeply
could.
love
I'm
it.
telling you, like
It's
Indiana
very good.
is
Yeah.
you know what Indiana is? Indiana is one battle after another
Yeah,
because
100%. Yeah.
because like
Undefeated.
it's undefeated, and like there were so many people that doubted it, right? So early on. And like it still had some wins, and then people are like,
Yeah.
nah, it's still not gonna be as good as like, or it's still not gonna, beat the top dogs, or
Yeah.
we're not taking this seriously. And you got like this kind of like cocky son of a bitch behind it that like is like really, really like a character within itself, PTA Kurt Nettie.
Yeah.
So like it's
Yeah.
and you got the
Ham-
Heisman favorite in front of it, and that's Leo.
Exactly.
So,
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe Hamnet is Ohio State. A lot of big
No, I
wins
think
early
I think
on.
Ohio State is sinners, because it's like the other
Okay.
team. It's like they're not too far off. They're like 3 points that separate the two of them. And then
I was
Hamnet
only
is-
thinking of Hamnet because Hamnet was so dominant early on, and then lately it's
Hamnet-
kind of had
Hamnet's-
its loss, you could say,
Texas A&M.
or Texas A&M. Yeah, there you
That's
go.
who
Yeah,
they
that's a good
are.
one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then like Frankenstein's like Georgia. Because like it's sort of slow, and you're like, it wasn't like not great festival reviews, and now it's getting nominated for like 11 here and 5 here, Golden Globes and this and stuff, and you're like, wow, actually Frankenstein's doing pretty well for itself,
exactly.
And then there's this quiet Oregon Texas Tech thing you could do for sentimental value, and it was just an accident, which it's really weird. It's really weird. Like, well, like Lubbock's in the desert, so you could do that. It was just an accident sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then like Oregon, I don't know what its connection with
Marty Supreme, maybe.
I don't know. Now we're just around here. And it's getting we're getting really in the weeds now.
Yeah.
So,
But we can make it work. If we tried really hard, we can make it work. Either way. The discourse is the same.
I can feel the listeners leaving right now.
Look, maybe that is the case, but look, again, I'm not anti-Oscars. I just think that the way we treat our sports is very ironic. It is hilarious. I will never not find it funny.
Well, it is. I mean, it is something that's very. It's a subjective art form.
Yeah.
Like, but also too, like when we're joking about like rankings and football and stuff and sports and how this all is, but like that selection committee was a subjective form.
Well,
like,
that's the irony of college football.
Yeah,
sports is objective, and we have turned it subjective.
And it turned into subjective like really quick because humans can't help themselves. But like, I mean, but for the most part, I will say like over the last couple of years, like I do think they try to do the best they can to celebrate the films. And from the talent standpoint, like, see, this isn't an online thing. I truly believe this. From an online standpoint, is all the fighting and the backstabbing and the bullshit.
Yeah.
The talent's not like that. The talent, they're so happy to be in these rooms and talk about their films, and they're probably just exhausted at a certain point of having to keep talking about a movie for 8 months, or in the case of Center, it's like a whole goddamn year.
A whole year, yeah.
So like, I think that fandom is a super toxic thing. But as you know, JD, I try to do my best to separate that.
Yeah.
There's a difference between like you're gonna do your top 10 of the year episode here soon.
Yep.
And I have my top 20 that'll solidify here in the next couple of weeks. And there are going to be a lot of movies that probably do crossover with the Academy. It's a great year
Sure.
for films that seem to be like making into the Academy or some of the best films of the year. I cannot argue that. But then there's also like going to be movies that I just jam with that have no stake in this whatsoever.
Exactly.
And I think that that's totally
Same.
fine. But you don't see me on Twitter being like, if Pillion doesn't get in to these categories, what are we doing as a society? So screw Begonia. I don't like Begonia. But I understand. But right now, if you go into the Ankler, where I'm one of the selective pundits that they've asked to be on that website to make their predictions, I have that movie in the 10 spot because I see that like people are responding to it and they like Emma Stone, and I'm not so I can separate my biases, and I think people don't do that because they want their team in. They want to be right.
And that's it. And that's the art as sports thing. And for sports, there is an objective winner and loser, which is why that behavior is, I guess, acceptable or maybe expected. Now, of course, sports behavior can go beyond toxic as well. It can get extremely egregious and gross. But if my team wins and yours loses, I get to talk about that. I get to be like, haha, you lost, I won. That's how sports works. Now, hopefully you're doing it in good faith and having fun with it, not being personal and actually attacking people. But with sports, there's winners and losers. In art, that's just like, I'm just a firm believer that's not how we should approach art. And that's not to say that you can't criticize or dislike a movie. Obviously, you can. But when you start treating it like sports, and I see a whole bunch of people tweeting about how this actress or they get real angry, like deep, bitter hatred.
You mean like
and start
when
attacking.
You don't like a movie and somebody sends you a death threat?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Or they they make accusations about your appearance, or they know literally nothing about you whatsoever, but because you dare to say that one actress may have given a pretty bland performance in a movie and does not deserve, in their opinion, to be nominated, even though you're predicting them to get in.
Yeah, and a lot of us, I don't think most people, there are obviously exceptions to the rule, especially on film Twitter, because there are people that love to revel in this thing. But I'd say for the most part, a lot of us, we tend to talk about the things we love, and those that we don't, they're not top of mind. And that's how we approach life. The only reason that you are tweeting about Jussie Buckley and Hamlet or Sentimental Value or Sinners or whatever the case is because it poses a threat to the performance or the film that you're rooting for. And because it poses a threat, I now have to attack it. I have to downplay it. And I could even like that thing. I could even like Buckley. I could love Sinners, maybe even, but it poses a threat, God damn it, to the one that I want to win. And I can't have that shit. So I am going to attack it. That mentality to me, I cannot wrap my mind. Like, it is so obtuse and absurd and ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think that has any place in art. And but yet that's the world we live in, because it's at the end of the day, it is a competition, and we want our things to win. We want our champions to win. And we talk about it in this way as if you can't simultaneously love everything. I mean, I sent out a tweet the other day about how I think it was the 5 actresses for Golden Globes drama, and we can certainly get into the Globes here in a minute. But I thought that 5 was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, flip a coin. If that's the 5 for the Oscars, I would love it. Flip a
the-
coin.
I think it was 6, but yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, man, my gosh, like this is an incredible lineup. I absolutely love it. Flip a coin, that'd be great. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or anything of that nature, but like, I just don't have that bone in my body to just lift one of those up and completely downplay the rest. Why can't we have our cake and eat it too? Like, why can't I root for Jessie Buckley and Jennifer Lawrence and Renée Ryan-Siv and Amanda Seyfried and Chase Infinity? Why can't I root for all of them?
And
because
Tessa Thompson.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, for me, I was really happy that Tessa got in because
me
that's
too.
a performance that I feel like is getting not enough attention. And I think that that's okay to do. Like, I think that there's, like, listen, like, JD, you know what my number 1 movie of the year is. It's not a damn secret. Like, One Battle After Another is my favorite movie of the year. I've seen the movie like 10 damn times. Like, it's absurd how many times I've seen the film. And I would love nothing more than for my guy, PTA, who I loved and have absolutely affinity for because of what he means to me, to be in this space, to be in criticism, to be in all this different stuff. Like, for me, for him to win, I mean, it'll be a long time coming, right? Because he's been nominated 11 times and he's never won. That's something where you're just like, God, I hope this happens. I really do. Yeah. And I've been predicting it since April. So, like, that would be great. Mm-hmm. But if it didn't happen, like if Ryan Coogler beat him for director, I mean, like, would I be kind of bummed that PTA doesn't have director? Yeah, I would. But is Ryan Coogler's direction in Sinners lesser because he won that? No, it's phenomenal work from a guy that I wish would make more movies like that and step away from the Marvel junk. Like, Chloe Zhao's done fantastic directing. I mean, Jafar Panahi in that movie.
Gosh.
Like,
yes.
I mean, my God, like what Joachim Trier does in Sentimental Value, what, you may not like the film, but the scale of what Del Toro is doing in Frankenstein is unmatched. And there's and these are just films that are in the race. Like, I think a movie like Black Bag should be in conversation. That's some of Soderbergh's best work he's ever done, in my opinion. And it's getting
Resurrection. Are you kidding me?
Like, I mean, like, that movie's insane. Like, what are we talking about? Like, like there's half a dozen to dozen, 2 dozen movies where I go, how did they do that? I mean, like, it would, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Rose is incredible in that movie.
That's another great one.
And I think Jennifer Lawrence gave probably her best performance of her career in Die My Love. I think Jessie's on a whole nother level. I think anytime we have Tessa Thompson on screen, it's like, sit up and listen. Renata's
best actress
it's like,
is just absurd.
We have so many actresses, so many actors to celebrate. It's honestly like you start getting bummed that certain people aren't there. Because like, JD, I'm going to tell you a fun one. If I was here on the InSession Film Awards this year.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Uh-huh.
And I had 5 spots for Best Actor. You know who I'm putting in my 5? Liam Neeson for The Naked Gun.
I love that. That's inspiring. Because he's
that's
so good
a performance.
At that movie.
That's a performance that we should talk about, because the level of difficulty for that actor to pull that 88-minute freaking running joke the entire time through.
Yeah.
Some of the best acting you're going to see this year.
I agree.
It doesn't mean though that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to, because he didn't get nominated for a Golden Globe, going to be like, well, you know what? Jesse Plemons, this guy, like, that's not how any of this should work. And you're right on that. I will say there is a lot of people that I follow in this space and that do the correct thing. And I think that there are a lot of people that do cover this race from a purely just cover the race here, movie opinions here, and don't meld. I think there's a lot of the toxic fan base that you're trying to talk about here that are just followers, and they're not really even journalists. These are just like trolls on the internet for the most of them. but they love to catch up with the engagement of all of this. But I do think that there's like some of the trades and some of the other sites that I do not write for do a disservice to them by indulging in their clickbait following sort of articles and the way they talk about things in the race, and don't separate all the way. So I think there are a section of people that do a great job of this, and I respect them. And there are a section of them that I go, God, I wish you were doing this better. And I think that that is from the top, because the stuff at the bottom, like all the people and the followers that you see online and the engagement, and these followers that have like, these people that have like 100 to 1,000, commenters or whatever, and they don't really have like a following. Like they're not really the issue. The issue is more up at the top and how we talk about this from our vantage point, from the vantage point of pundits, of people like myself that are on sites and are in critics groups and are in those conversations. Because I had this, and I'll say this briefly because I don't want to give it too much space, but like Eric and I had different, like we both had very different of opinions than some people than Wicked, right?
Sure.
And we had all these Wicked fans come after us on social media, and it was just very funny because it was just like, you guys are yelling at us about like how we're biased, and yet you've got your face pictures is inside a Wicked bubble, like like templates. So like we clearly know where you stand in all of this. So it's like to call out anybody's objectivity, or like to call out critics groups, and it was then very funny because like one of them started saying like, hey, this is actually like a CCA voter, we should like be nice to him. And I'm like, guys, I'm going to vote for whatever performance I think personally is my favorite of the nominees.
Yeah.
Not based off what anybody on this online, other than what I believe myself. And I have to see the films and have my own opinion on those in order to then have those judgments. Because newsflash, like a couple of years ago when we did our InSession Film Awards, and PTA, who I love, was there, I did not vote for him for categories. I did not not have him win a lot because there were other films that year that meant more. Now this year is different because like this is like head and shoulders like a movie built in a lab for Ryan McQuade, and everybody's different that way. There's a lot of people that want to say what they want about Hamnet, and I'm like, I don't understand that, but good for you. And then there are people that don't like sentimental value. I understand that. I was with you for that at first, and I rewatched the film. That's the other thing. Rewatching films helps. And I said, you know what? This is actually really good, and I'm an idiot, and I was wrong. And God forbid in this world we say that whether we're wrong or not. So all that's to say, it's like this is a subjective art form. It is a competition. You hear this, I think, over and over again, though, now from artists, from people. It's like it's all just about being around their creatives or those conversations that they have. Like PTA is going to have conversations with Coogler, and Chloe Zhao is going to talk with Del Toro, and they're all going to get in rooms together and have these big conversations over the next couple months. And that's all they give a shit about. They don't care about the online stuff. So that's why, to me, my opinions on this stuff, like when I make predictions, I'm just putting my stuff out there. And I just either, if you're going to be hateful, I'm going to block you. If you're going to engage with it, maybe I'll engage with it. But other than that, I just try to start ignoring it. Cause like, I thought, years ago, buddy, I was like, I can't fight this anymore. I don't got the emotional bandwidth to fight some of these people.
Yeah, at
that
a
are
certain
just
point,
like on it over and
you
over
can't.
again.
Yeah. The thing, I think at the end of it, for me, it's about celebrating the best in any given year. That's ultimately what this should be about. And when you let competition dictate what you're putting out there, I do think you're completely missing the point altogether. And that is where I just find it so exhausting, especially because we live in a world where those rage baity kind of things tend to get the most attention. And maybe people are doing that very purposefully. And if so, that makes it all the more disingenuous. But I don't find any value. I don't find any sentimental value, if you will. I don't find anything of merit when you begin your argument with, well, this thing over here sucks.
Yeah,
As soon as that becomes a part of the argument, then I'm out. I'm completely out. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care what your argument is, even if I ultimately agree with what you're trying to praise. At that point, I just feel like we are completely missing the boat. And that is ultimately the nucleus of where I find artist sports being so problematic. Like the way you've championed one battle after another, I think is quintessential. Like, I don't see you out here going, I love PTA, I love one battle after another, but Wicked, screw that movie. I hate it. Like, for one, that does nothing to uplift one battle after another. And it's just rage bait with no purpose. But
there are movies I don't like this year, and
for sure. And I'm not saying
season
I'm not saying you can't criticize a movie or not like a movie. But when you're championing a movie, you're doing it from a place of passion. And so all you've done is tweet about PTA, the performances, how great the movie is, it's the best of the year, without having to bring in another film as some sort of prop. And
you know what's funny, JD, about that? And to your point, it's like I made a funny, just like a joke tweet after Amy Madigan won in New York.
Okay.
It said, "The right witch won," and I put the bubble like emoji up there. You know me, I can't help myself. And it was so funny. I just put it up as a joke. It's a joke because the New York Film Critics Circle is not going to, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, because it has no Oscar voters. And I love everybody in New York that votes for that. This is not shade at them. But in the grand scheme of all this, Amy Madigan winning New York is not, if she ultimately wins an Oscar, is not going to be like the people that have way too much, that think about this way too much, and need to like step outside and go touch the grass. Like they like, if they're going to be like, it started in New York, I'd be like, no, it started when the guilds watched this thing, and it started when she got nominated for telecast awards and things that are more than just regional critics groups. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. Like, I said that, and all I said was the right witch one, because, okay, let's be honest. Like, objectively, in my opinion, I think Amy Madigan's better in her performance than Ariana Grande in hers. Okay. But that was not a shade in saying, did I say anything about Ariana Grande being bad? No.
Yeah. And that's
did I say that she shouldn't be nominated? No.
Yeah.
Did I
people
say
automatically
they automatically assume, because they go right to negativity, and they take a joke and they blew everything up, but I had to mute it. And it's so funny because it was just like, that's a small example of everyone proving your point, JD.
Yeah.
Of a small little fun cheeky joke that gets thrown into, we've got to burn this man to the ground and everything that he's ever done in his life.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's so funny to me. It's very funny to me like that. But if she gets nominated, if Ariana Grande gets nominated, you know how that's going to affect me? It's going to affect me like this amount of percentage. Honestly, it's really good. You know what? If Ariana Grande doesn't get nominated, you know how much it's going to affect her? This much, because she's still going to be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. She'll be okay. She'll be okay if she gets it or she doesn't get it.
Yeah,
like, she'll be all right.
She's gonna get it.
I'll be okay if she gets it or not. Like I'll be fine.
Yeah,
like, come on,
champion your champions, and I am eager to hear you talk about why you feel that way. Even if I disagree, I am very much eager. But the moment you start bringing up those comparisons, there was a viral tweet earlier today as we are recording this, where someone was talking about how Inga Lilius and sentimental value should go away in lieu of Son Ye-jin and No Other Choice, who was also really great. But again, I feel like that is an empty comparison. It's hollow. Like, why are you?
All you have to do is say, "I want this actress in. She did amazing
Yeah, like
work."
it's
Send the tweet.
such an empty argument to me, especially because Lilius is tremendous in sentimental value.
I would make the
Absolutely
argument-
awards worthy. Should
I
be
would
in the
make-
conversation.
I would make the argument. I'm like, she should be in there a little bit more than Elle Fanning. I like Elle Fanning a lot. If there was one performance from that film of the supporting actresses, I lean towards it's what Inga does in that movie. But like,
And that's it's totally fair.
but
And
if
what-
they both get in, great. Like they both are very good. You know,
both very good. And Son Ye-jin is fantastic and No Other Choice. She could also be in as well.
I would love it
But
if she
I'm
got
not.
in. That would be
I'm not
great.
like that. It's two totally different films for one.
They're different
two
apples.
different performances.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like bringing up that comparison is so hollow and empty. But I would be interested to hear why you responded to Ye-jin, but you didn't give me that. You gave me nothing to know what about that performance moved you. What about it? Like, why are you championing that performance? That to me is what the conversation should be. I'm not interested in these disingenuous, hollow comparisons where you have to bring someone down to lift someone up, which I don't think is effective at all anyway.
Mhm.
And mostly all you're doing is you're going to make more people approach No Other Choice, especially if you've seen Sentimental Value and you love that performance and you love that film and you haven't seen No Other Choice. Now you're kind of murking the waters when those people go to watch No Other Choice now, at least from an awards perspective.
Yeah,
now I
hadn't
hope
seen
that people can separate those things, but you know how people are. A lot of the times they can't.
Well, I feel like I've kind of said, I think that there's a lot of the great international films actually have a lot of actors that aren't getting recognized. Like the cast of It Was Just an Accident is not getting any recognition.
Yeah, which is kind of wild too.
The elderly woman that sort of protects the whole group in The Secret Agent, forgot what her name is.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm talking about. She's
yeah.
incredible in that performance, and so I would like to see more of those performances get nominated. But it doesn't have to be at the expense. And also, I will say this, like, and this is also the dirty secret of the Academy. It's like it's an American award, and so like it's not surprising that a lot of the international cinema, while it is having a resurgence over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and has done better and better and better. I mean, for Christ's sake, we had Parasite getting a Best Picture win. There's still a long strive for to break the sort of usual American actor or European actor breakthrough. Other countries, it's very tough for them to get nominated, and that's one thing that I've kind of come discerning with sometimes. It's like it's a lot of people from the UK and people from Europe and American actors that get a lot of the attention, and so I understand the frustration there, but that doesn't mean that you need to, again, like you're saying, JD, like pit women against each other, pit films that are completely different up against each other just because you want something to happen.
Just tell me why you love it. Why you love it.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
why you
like,
don't.
just
That's fine too.
because
But just tell me
honestly,
why. You don't
because
have to
honestly,
compare.
I'd tell you this: in the world where people get quoted for saying a movie is the greatest movie of all time on a poster from a tweet, if you probably championed a film, you're most likely going to get like Neon actually to maybe quote you or support you or take your letterbox review and prop it up. Instead, doing something like that will 9 times out of 10 easily make somebody go, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to actually read that because you want to know why? Because you're pitting 2 movies from the same studio up against one another. That's, what I mean?
It's such a hollow argument.
It's kind of like I saw today that, like, because Christopher Nolan did a Q&A with Ryan Coogler. And he was like, and all the Sinners fans were like, Nolan just told the Academy, give it to Coogler. I'm like, that's not what he said at all. Like he didn't say any of those words. He just talked about how much he loved the film, like you're supposed to do, and didn't make it about the Oscars.
Yeah.
He just said this sequence, the Rocky Road to Dublin sequence, is one of the most incredible sequences he's ever seen, musical sequences he's seen on screen. And so
Yeah.
that's all he did. But
Yeah.
people take and we live in a world of
Yeah.
misinformation and misconstruing one
yeah.
another. And so it's not surprising, but it's also just, there's a lot of people, JD, that don't know how this game works. And this is a different game than college football.
It is.
And you got to separate yourself. Cause like JD knows this, like I've had my heart broken through the Academy many years. And I've had years where I've sat back and I'm like, I'm not even a part of this. Like JD knows in 2021, my favorite movie was The Green Knight. Did that even get nominated, JD, for anything? No, it did not.
Nope. Great
so
movie,
I just sat back and was completely objective about what I was
Yeah.
seeing. And there are years where like, hey, my favorite movie was Oppenheimer and it lined up. We're looking like a once in a blue moon thing's going to strike twice in a decade. You know what I mean? With one battle after another. If it doesn't win, guess what?
Yeah.
JD knows this about me. When JD knows that the Oscars are always during South by Southwest. So if my film, and this is also true, JD knows this about me with March Madness in basketball. Who do I never pick in the bracket, JD? I never pick my Longhorns. Because you want to know why? Because I tell them, and this is true sometimes, I tell them, I say that if my bracket's going to get busted, it's going to be busted by my team, damn it. It's not going to be busted by Chattanooga State or some like St. Mary's or some or St. Bonaventure or VCU or something. The Longhorns will be the team that breaks my heart. And so like when it comes to this, it's like I never have my number one film in those races, but if the math is added up and I see the data, then I go, well, I guess it's bound to find out if I'm going to get heartbroken or not. And if not, you know what? I'm at South by Southwest usually watching these awards.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, you know what I'm doing? I'm watching a new movie. I can't get mad at that.
Moving on.
I'm moving on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, I think we can do that as well. I could talk about the artist sports thing all day long, but I do want to talk about.
I've been talking about
season.
JD with this for years.
I know, years.
I used to be more combative about it. Now because I'm so engrossed, I'm like, I can see what you're saying here, buddy. Like,
yeah, I know. It's deeply, deeply infuriating, but I do want to celebrate, and that's what awards is all about. So let's talk about award season and where we find ourselves. And I do want to actually start here because you mentioned Neon and some of those international films. They have some heavy hitters on their slate this year that include Sentimental Value, It Was Just an Accident, and a few others as well. Like it's possible that they get 3, maybe even 4 of those international features into Best Picture. Like what are the chances of that happening? Let's start there.
Well, I think that there's a strong chance that they're going to get at least 2. Like I would put money down if like we were doing this in Vegas. I'd put the money down on the Sentimental Value and It Was Just an Accident basket. Because I think Jafar Panahi is like right up there with Coogler to challenge PTA for director.
Yeah.
And I think Panahi's story and winning the Palme d'Or is a huge thing. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, like, movies like Anatomy of a Fall and movies like Anora have done extremely well. Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah.
The only one that really hasn't done particularly well was Titan. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so, and then, Parasite was that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that those two have a very strong footing because the Sentimental Value has done really well. And I think the love from Worst Person in the World is carry over to that film. and he's made, I think, an even better film than that one, which is hard to say because I know everybody loves that one, but for me personally, I think Sentimental's a little bit better. And Panahi's made, I mean, this is like ultimate grand statement of a man's empathy in the face of a revenge movie, which is crazy. And then I think what's sort of been climbing over the last couple of weeks is The Secret Agent, because I think Wagner Moura is a strong contender in Best Actor. I think it could maybe sneak into director, screenplay, international feature, maybe some below the line stuff. Maybe that's if they can play their cards right. I'm not on the team just yet of saying that No Other Choice is a real thing. Outside of maybe international feature, but there's a good possibility that it could miss. Movies like Surratt, Left-Handed Girl, Sound of Falling, The Voice of Henry Job, like that those movies have done really, really well as well alongside it in other critics groups and categories. I know it did particularly well with the Globes, which is wonderful, but No Other Choice to me, there's something about the Academy they've had an allergic reaction to Park Chan-wook over the years. I look at Decision to Leave not even being able to get in, which broke my heart.
Yeah.
And it was kind of felt like a slam dunk, and it didn't happen. So, so I think at its best it could get 3, and that would be sentimental value. It was just an accident, The Secret Agent, and I think because 3 is already would be pretty historic. Yeah, that would be pretty historic for a studio to get 3, and for a studio like Neon to get 3. Because we're already at situations where like it's very rare that studios get 2 films in.
Yeah, and
there's a chance that 3 studios are going to get 2 or more, because you're looking at like Warner Brothers could get up to 3. Netflix could get up to 4, and then and then up to 3 for Neon, and then there's of course Focus, and they have Hammond and Begonia, and then A24 has Marty Supreme, and so you start kind of and then there's Universal has Wicked, and there's all this different stuff in there, and then there's the Searchlight of it all, which has like a bunch of movies that seem to not gonna break in at all. So I would say 3. But I mean, I get really nervous about those 3. I mean, like the passion are there for all of them, but does it all get washed away and only one prevails? Like, be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. I am at the very least deeply rooting for sentimental value, and it was just an accident. I do personally think those are 2 of the very best films of the year. I also would say the same thing about No Other Choice, but you do make a great point about how that film has been lukewarm received in terms of awards to this point. And like, Park Chan-wook,
it hasn't like really gone to theaters yet, but like too,
because it's at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, it's like at the end of the month. I think people will really like it. I don't know if like the Academy, it'll be so interesting because like. Again, he hasn't been really embraced by the Academy, but this feels like the closest thing that could. But then there's just like this relevancy inside of The Secret Agent of the political nature of it that I really think can carry it over the top. And it's such a it's a 70s sort of, I kind of call it an anti-thriller in a lot of ways. I don't know if you've seen it, right, JD? Do you like it or?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
And so like,
it's very different than what you think it's going to be though.
Yeah, exactly. Cause I think you think Secret Agent, you think it's like a spy movie. It's like, no, it's like the secret guy. The guy is supposed to be kept secret and he's like an agent inside. So it's like a kind of a play on words. That felt like a Seinfeld kind of joke there. Like, so he's actually not really a guy. He's a secret agent. But
if there's a secret agent, it's actually another character that we only meet once in the film.
Yes.
And the film doesn't really emphasize her as this secret agent. At least not because it's about Wagner's character, obviously. But that is the titular secret agent if you look at it from that perspective.
True. True.
Which is another little twist. So it's kind of a play. The title is kind of a play in kind
It's
of
very
multiple
tongue-in-cheek.
facets.
Yeah. It's really, it plays on your idea of what this is actually you think is going to be, but it's completely different. And that's actually why I think it's so effective in what it is.
Especially when you get to the end, without getting into any spoilers. But it's quite effective.
Well, that's the thing. It's like all 4 of these movies have like some of the best endings you're going to see this year. Like it's that's the other thing. It's, but yeah, I don't know if we're at a world where 4 international films break through in a mostly English language ceremony. You know what I mean? Like
I want it to happen so much.
I wanted to know. Listen, my top 10 exists of multiple, of various films and various genres and various languages. Like, I believe in what director Bong says, that the black bar at the bottom of the screen is not the thing that can impede you from seeing beauty, and seeing the wonders of the world. But for some old members of the Academy, they just can't get all the way there. I do think though it helps that like some of sentimental value is in English, so that does help its advantage there too. But yeah, to answer your original question, I think it's just going to be 3, but but for sure 2, for sure 2.
An international feature just at large is going to be a lot of fun too, just to see how that plays out. I believe you noted Seurat earlier. That's also a fascinating little flick. And
it's fascinating. All right, I'll give you that. Yeah.
The voice of Hin Rajab, just devastating.
Yes.
Devastating, harrowing, timely. My only concern with that film getting in or not, it's heavy. It's real heavy, and it's inherently going to be political. It shouldn't, but it will be. And, does that hinder it at all? I don't know, but possibly.
I don't know. I mean, like no other land was pretty, was pretty political last year and didn't have a distributor and distributor. I mean, and it won.
And it won. Yeah, that's a great point. So maybe not. It's a different world than it was.
It's a very. 10 years ago. I will say that this year there is a very political undertone in a lot of these films. Some of them work, and then some of them are bad. You know what I mean? Like some of them are like, wow. Like I mean, I don't want to make this a wicked bashing thing, but like the whole like Underground Railroad system in the No Place Like Home and I've been saying this to everybody, JD, but it felt like that sequence in Wicked for Good where she's like singing No Place Like Home, don't leave to this random Dune world, was like it felt like Chuck Schumer telling the Democrats, we'll be able to survive the midterms if you just stay, and so some of that doesn't work, and some of the stuff in Avatar doesn't work either for its political messages. But I mean, like when you have movies like It Was Just an Accident, Secret Agent, Sinners, One Battle After Another, these really big films that really speak to the times. I think that there's even a lot of that in Frankenstein. Even though I understand what Guillermo's trying to say about it. For me, I'm like, I don't know if that fully is what it's supposed to mean, but sure. Like it's going to be a very like, the movies are, when made in times where people and artists feel that they are that the world is under attack, or there's an uneasiness that can bring out some really urgent and fascinating filmmaking. And I think this year is showing that.
What do you think about the Globes? Was there anything in particular that stood out to you as far as maybe even in context of the Globes, but as it relates to the Oscars, surprises or anything that missed that really caught your eye as far as this season is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, like, I love that the blanket statement question opening was, what did you think of the Globes? And then my mind just went back 20 years to like isn't this organization dumb? But like, you know what I mean? But honestly, I kind of thought they were a bit boring and old hat. Like they're now honestly such a mirror to Critics' Choice, which actually I thought Critics' Choice did a really good job this year. Like, not to pat ourselves on the back because we're both members.
Yeah.
But I honestly like
us.
Critics' Choice. Yeah, we did good. But like, no, it was like they have their own version. We have our own version of silliness that happens. Like, for God's sakes, like John M2 won director last year, and we were all like, "Did you vote for that? Did I vote? Who voted for that?" You know, like
Spoiler alert, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. And so you kind of just like, so like sometimes you're like, wow, okay. But like, no, the nominees were really great, and they felt indicative of the movies that I've talked to with other voters in the critics groups have championed and loved. And then I've had some friends and some colleagues that are part of the Globes, and I've talked with them a bit about the movies that they love. So like Secret Agent wasn't a surprise. These international films were not a surprise. Wicked for Good and Avatar not getting in there was not a surprise. Like, most of these things weren't a surprise. The thing about it is like the Globes can't help themselves sometimes, because like when you see Emily Blunt nominated for The Smashing Machine, you want to smash your head into a machine because you're like, what are you doing? I think it's truly one of the worst performances of the year. That being said, it makes total sense.
Worst performances of the year?
I think it's pretty terrible. I think it's pretty terrible.
Wow.
I think it's pretty terrible, and I think that it's poorly written. And I think this makes
agree it's not.
I think it makes her character in Oppenheimer look like Jessie Buckley in Hamnet. It makes it look like one of the greatest performances ever. And if you put them up next to one another, but
the writing does not help her, though. To be fair, the writing is really bad.
No, but like her 900 accents, and like it's just the choices she makes. It's you know, I would fire an agent if I were her. Let's just say that. But I understood why she got in, because Dwayne Johnson got in around 6, and that's the difference here, is that they split him up in drama and comedy. In the supporting categories, they don't. But I understand why she got in, because like there's 6 nominees in all these categories. So there's plenty of chances there's more chances for fun surprises than there are wild snubs. You know, I think that like I think the word snub is a very little it's used too liberally. You know, like we're using snub like, you know, like we're throwing it around like candy on Halloween. You know, like when I think of a snub, I think of like something that you and me, JD, have like seen on everybody's predictions, and we know this is locked in, and you know, like, this is Amy Adams in Arrival is a snub. You know, Ben Affleck for Argo and director is a snub. You know what I mean? Like, these are snubs. Like, this is like where we're all outraged. Like, you know, for a lot of people, Greta Gerwig and Barbie for directors is a snub. Not a single damn snub here.
Can I read the definition of that?
Yes, I would love if you did this.
Here's the definition: to deliberately ignore, slight, or reject someone or something in a rude, contemptuous way.
Correct.
That a lot of people throwing that term around towards some of these nominations, that doesn't apply to that definition.
I think the way we use snub is terrible. I think omission is a better word.
Yeah.
They were not, I mean, they were just not selected. Yeah. They missed a nomination, because you know what? They did. And that's okay to say. But it makes all their egos feel better to say, you know what? I was snubbed. Yeah. And it's like, no, you weren't.
Like a great example of what you're talking about, as far as I am concerned, is Bryce Desner for Train Dreams. That is not a snub, because he hasn't been everywhere and then was deliberately pushed aside by the Globes. That's not what happened. I think it is one of the best scores of the year. Hands down. It's in my top 5. Spoiler alert, it'll show up at the InSession Film Awards. But I can't call it a snub. It hasn't been showing up as much as I think that it should have. It just missed. To your point, it's just been missing.
You know what a snub would be if you asked me like, what'd you think of the Globes? I would be on here. How the hell did Leonardo DiCaprio not get nominated for one battle after another? What are they doing here? What? Like that would be a snub.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But also like go to the Critics' Choice. Cynthia Erivo wasn't nominated for actress. I wouldn't call that a snub. Because you want to know why? Because I read all the reviews and I saw all the stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Everyone was like, she's fine in this, or she doesn't have enough to do, or it's not her movie, or Ariana Grande is technically the lead, which is why she shouldn't be in that category in the first place. She shouldn't be in supporting. They should have kind of flipped. But they're also, spoiler alert, were just 6 other performances that people like more.
Mm-hmm.
And the voting systems are different at all these different places. Heaven forbid they just didn't nominate her one time. And again, you know what Cynthia Erivo did that morning when the Critics' Choice nominations came out? And she didn't get nominated. She kept living her life. She's doing fine. You know what I mean?
She looked at her bank account and said, there are 7 figures there. I'm okay.
Just 7? I think she's just like, I got points off the back end probably for this thing.
Probably,
you know?
that's true.
So she's like, keep going to the theaters. If you make me feel bad, give me your money.
Yeah, might be closer to 9. Who knows?
Exactly. It's the Don Draper. This is what the money's for. But like,
exactly.
Wicked had a poor critical reception. The Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes are made up of critics. So like, if the critics don't like it, it's probably not going to get in. And so, I mean, Avatar, it doesn't even have reviews out and it's not even nominated. It doesn't even have box office yet. Somehow it got in the box office award,
which is amazing. I love that the Globes are like, it's going to make $1 billion. It's okay.
Yeah. But also that's not even my gripe about it. I agree. $1 billion's like being under. I think it'll make like close to 2.
Yeah.
It's like, why was K-Pop Demon Hunter in the box office cinematic achievement award? Like, I love that movie. I love it. Box office achievement?
Well, if you could look at it from the perspective of it's Netflix's biggest box office achievement of all time.
Oh, why? Because it was released in theaters for 6 days before Ted Sarandos was like, get it out of there. It's making too much money.
God forbid, we're allergic to money.
Honestly, the biggest loser of this whole season, Sony. What are you doing? You had $1 billion movie on your hand and you gave it to Netflix.
Yeah.
You had a franchise.
Yeah.
An animated franchise in the summer. What are you doing? Oh, I hope it
and
makes
Netflix is still like the sequel is going to Netflix.
Yeah, they're like we're not giving it back. Why would they do it?
You're about to buy Warner Brothers for $1 billion, but you're allergic to making money. Like, that math isn't mathing.
Like, yeah, we'll give 90 billion to Warner Brothers, but we could easily make 2 of this back if we just put one movie out in theater.
Unbelievable.
And they don't even have to do an effort. Like, it doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be good at all. No. And they would make so much money. That's the thing. Like Inside Out 2, Inside Out 1, movies that I know JD likes, I don't like. It's fine. See, we can still be friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They didn't have to really do anything for Inside Out 2.
But you know what they did? They made the best hockey movie of all time. That's what they did.
You know what they did? They made another $1.5 billion, and they were totally fine with it.
Yeah.
We're going to keep getting Toy Story movies until people say stop with their cash.
Yeah. So we talked about this last week because I totally forgot. We were going through Pixar's filmography of recent. Toy Story 4 made $1.5 billion. What?
Yeah. I remember where Brendan and I did that episode many years ago, and Brendan was like, and I was like, oh, I liked it. And it didn't matter what we had to say. Because that movie was going to make $1 billion anyway, you know?
Toy Story 4.
And then you
1.5.
wonder why they went, you know what? Maybe we'll make some more story up.
Which is what makes Lightyear all the more crazy. Like they went in a totally different direction with Lightyear.
And it made no money.
And it made no money. Nobody liked it. It's strange. Very strange
whoa,
decision.
Whoa. Some people liked it.
I think it's Pixar's worst movie.
That's crazy when Brave exists.
Brave
when
is
Cars
like,
2 exists.
And those are the next two for me.
To be fair, that does feel like a movie that there's a great old episode here on InSession Film where JD and Brendan and myself, I think we talked about the new Wonder Woman movie where I talked about how essentially Chris Pine was in the, like, they raped a man in that movie.
Yeah.
Because like he's in the body of another person.
Oh yeah.
And they have sex and that other person then like gets his body back and she like looks at him at the end of that movie and she's like, what are you looking at, lady? You know? And so I always called that like Ryan's logical stance. There's always a movie every year where I look at it and I'm like, logically, none of this makes any sense. And it's so frustrating. And this year it's definitely Avatar, but I still like the movie. And yeah, so that's where I got to think about with that, where
our Avatar review is going to be fun. I think I said it earlier, or maybe I didn't, but Ryan and Jay Ledbetter, they're both coming back for our review of Avatar. Iron Ash. It's going to be great.
I don't think the people are ready for that episode. I
don't think so either.
I think you and Brendan need to be ready to embrace the fact that we have just gone full tangent over at Director Watch. And that's, there are episodes where we talk about a movie for 25 minutes and tangents fill up the rest. And we just let the show go wherever we want.
Wherever it goes. Yeah.
Just like Big Jim would want it. We're going to let that episode go wherever it needs to go.
Yeah.
The way of that water, the fire and the ash. We're just going to let it all go on that.
Yeah. Anyway, I was about to take us down.
We're all going to connect tails and connect to the mother web, right?
Yeah. Should be fun. I look forward to having that conversation. But anyway, awards.
Yes.
I forget where we were going.
We were talking about the Globes.
Oh, the Globes. So yes, with the Globes.
See, this is how I got you on a tangent.
I know, and now I'm all distracted. Goat Cameron, not going to be nominated. Let's talk about the acting categories: best actor, and best actress. So obviously, with the Globes, they split it up between comedy and drama, and there's 6 nominees instead of 5. But of those nominated, and I guess let's start with actress. Looking at the 12, I guess, of those here, or others that may not be here, who do you think ends up being the Oscar 5 out of that crop?
Oh, this is like the most torturous question you could ask an Oscar person because it's the most popular category. And
I wanted to go there.
You bastard.
I know. It is a good.
So I would say, obviously Jessie Buckley is number one. I know that she hasn't won all the critics prizes yet, but JD will remember the old days on Jason Gold where I was very bullish on Frances McDormand and I kept saying, that's just like the best place to reward her for that. And reward that film is that performance. So I think she's in. I think Renata Reinsve is right behind her for sentimental value.
Okay.
Then number 3, this is where it starts getting interesting, right?
Yep.
So I have Chase Infinity at 3. And the reason why, this movie is a juggernaut. And she's 3 because she's going to be in the Best Picture winner. And she's going to get.
So her youth, you don't think will hinder her at all? Okay.
No. I think that movie is so strong that at this point right now, GD, I have 5 actors nominated for that movie in my predictions, and I could easily go to 6. And this
Yeah.
isn't personal. This is what I truly believe, because this is a movie that, like, I have interviewed so many people this year over in all my works at awardswatch.com, before, during, and after the podcast, taking out Regina Hall,
Yeah.
Tiana Taylor, and Chase Infinity, who I've all interviewed. If I take all of them out, the number one movie that everyone has talked about is One Battle After Another.
Okay.
Every one of them, in person and on virtual.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with Sean Fennessy. If you watch the big picture at the end when he's talking to every filmmaker and every person there, 9 times out of 10, they have said the last great thing that they saw was One Battle After Another. I think this movie's going to get like 13, 14 nominations, and she's going to be a part of it. So that's at 3.
So you think this is going to be everything, everywhere, all at once situation?
I think it's like that. I think it's like the Oppenheimer. Both of those films were nominated for a crap ton of Oscars, and they won 7 apiece. I think that this
and
is
like all the major actors were nominated and won. Yeah.
I think we're living in a world where, like, you know how Everything Everywhere All at Once won the top 7 that night? Won 6 awards of the top 8. They won director, screenplay, picture, actress, supporting actress.
Yeah.
There's a crazy world, and I'll get into this in a minute, where One Battle After Another could win the top 7. They could win every actor award, screenplay, director, picture, walk away with those 7. That's not even including editing, cinematography, and score. So
Crazy.
We're talking about 10. And that's not even including the fact that, like, Colleen Atwood's doing the costumes, the sound could get in, makeup for Sean Penn. It could, and the casting award. Yeah, we're talking about 13, 14 nominations. So,
okay. So
I think
Chase
she's going to get
Infinity. So Chase Infinity, you have at 3. Okay, that's a very fair, strong argument. So who do you have at 4 and 5 then?
I have Rose Byrne at 4.
Okay, love that.
I think this is like the critical pick.
Yeah.
Like every year we have a critical pick. Like, you know, I think that Fernando Torres was that. Sort of the champion pick that we all want to get in there. And we push this and it wins and it gets to the Globe. And, you know, she's been around for 20 years and she's getting prizes and she's showing up with groups, and, you know, winning LA and New York was huge. And I do think that helps to build momentum for her to be at roundtables and discussions and talk about this film. It's a very challenging film. She would be the only person nominated for it. But I do think that, like, the performance is so strong. And in a year of mothers, I actually think she gives maybe the best performance as a mother this year.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, because I think Jen Lawrence is wonderful. I think Jesse's great. But, like, I think she's there. And then number 5. Right now, you know, they always say go with their favorites. That's what I always tell you all the time. Don't I tell you that, JD? I'm like, the Academy, they love their favorites. And you know who is one of their favorites and was in the favorite was Emma Stone. So I think Emma Stone in Begonia, because it's not only her with Yorgos Lanthimos. You have the bald, shaved head and the transformation. I think the movie stinks. But I understand people love that performance. They love her. She's won 2 Oscars. It's a transformation.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a much more respected movie and has a shot to get into picture, to get into screenplay. Jesse Plemons is right there as well, as one of the 6 actors could get the last spot in best and it could get into makeup.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that that's it. And then that means, like, Cynthia Erivo's on the out. My beloved Tessa Thompson is out. Jennifer Lawrence is out.
And that to me, I think is interesting, because the Academy historically has also loved her.
Yeah. They have.
I know it's this small little movie.
Yeah.
But they do love her, and she is really great in that movie. So if enough people see it, I could see that maybe surprising.
So, like, and I'm going to say something, and people, and I want people to understand, I'm not saying this because I want this to happen. I'm saying that this is a statistical fact about the Best Actress category, and that it's a category, JD, that only twice in its history, 2 Black women have been nominated in the same year, and twice it had to have Billie Holiday as a character. Both years, Andra Day was, and I want to say it was Diana Ross, am I not mistaken? Anyway, I'll look that up in a second. I believe I'm right on that. The point being is that it also took a giant pandemic for it to happen again. And I would love for it to be wrong and for Chase and for Cynthia Erivo to get in. But I saw last year Marianne Jean-Baptiste and Cynthia Erivo be in the same sort of thing, the same sort of race. And they spit and chewed Marianne Jean-Baptiste apart because they said that character was unlikable. One of the best characters of the year last year, period. End of story.
I agree.
And so I know this Academy very well. They're not going to nominate 3 mothers, 3 struggling, like 3, you know what I mean? They don't nominate a lot of the same performances. So it's really like to put Rose and Jesse in here is kind of actually a risk. Because they also love, like, they love adaptations, they love real people, they love all this stuff. So that would be the one thing I guess about this is like Jesse's technically playing a real person, but it's also from a work of fiction. You know what I mean? So we're playing fast and loose with the rules here. So if Renata, Emma Stone, Chase Infinity, Rose Byrne, and Jesse got in there, that's not a lot of people that are based on true stories that are getting in there, which is kind of great because then that means original characters are getting in here. But I think that and again, it's a terrible statistic. So that I think they try to not nominate the same thing. I don't think they all sit in a room and talk about this, but then it also just is like, Jen Lawrence is great in this, but like I think Rose Byrne did it better. I hear that all the time when it comes to similar performances. Sadly, I heard this a little bit last year about Marianne and Cynthia.
See, again, the art of sports thing, we can't escape it.
It is the sports thing, but this is what they do when you start. You have to whittle these things down, and you have to. It's the internal nitpicks that you have to do in order to get your ballot to win.
And I get that. Like, I certainly get that. And
it's it's pulling hairs, but the Academy does things that like I think are so wrong and racist and sexist and old way of thinking. Even when they are getting younger and younger and younger, they still do these things that they aren't fully aware of. But because of, and how we know that, JD, because when they nominate it, that's the story they're telling.
Yeah.
Like that, like to me, I look at the Oscars as the story of the Oscars and what happened this year and what the voters were thinking this year. And usually your predictions need to tell a story of how this movie won Best Picture, right? Like, how did Nora win? Well, it won all these awards for Sean Baker and Mikey Madison. And you're like, wow, that's why it won. It wasn't like, Nora won all this and then Nickel Boys won. You know what I mean? Like it was like, and then it was like, what the, like it wasn't like a big surprise, it wasn't like this giant, like, gotcha, like that, unless you're La La Land and Moonlight. And even still, you're like, well, that won screenplay and supporting actor. And it was the most, critically acclaimed film of the year, whatever.
Yeah. It kind of came down to those two in a lot of ways anyway. Yeah, no, and that's a great point. I mean, I hope people do, and when I say people, I guess voters of the Academy do consider Jennifer Lawrence. I do understand the similarities between the two films. In fact, when Brendan and I reviewed If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, because we did that a week after Die My Love, I basically joked with Brendan, we could get out of here earlier and I could just re-upload the Die My Love conversation and just insert a different title whenever we say Die My Love, because they are similar movies in a lot of ways. But I don't necessarily see the performances the same because the way the camera interacts with the performer is very different. So ultimately, I think the performances are distinct as well, despite the material being somewhat similar. And I think they're both excellent. Like those three for me, like the mothers, I think are kind of undeniable performances. I think a lot of it might just come down to how you feel about those films because they are challenging. And I mean, we know how Lynn Ramsey is. She's certainly not for everybody. And a lot of people might not even watch the film because of that. So, well, I get that there's work for Jennifer Lawrence, but I think she's as good as anything I've seen this year. And it's certainly some of her best work. And for Emma Stone is interesting because I do like Begonia more than you. I don't know if it's my favorite Lanthimos film, but I think what I find interesting about it is that it's closer to earlier Lanthimos than what we've seen since maybe The Lobster in 2016. And I really love that era of Lanthimos and the weird quirkiness he would bring to his movies. And Begonia is very much in that vein. And I would argue, as much as I love The Favorite, I liked Poor Things, and I liked Emma Stone in that film. But I would say that I think her performance in Begonia is the best work she's done in a Lanthimos project.
Wow.
And it's kind of ironic to me that this is the one that's on the fringe, but I understand why it's on the fringe because it's the weirdest of those works as well.
It's definitely the weirdest. It's one of the weirder in the lineup, and that's saying something with like Rose Byrne and the hamster. And like the giant hole in the ceiling and her therapist being Conan O'Brien. It's to me, I just think that like that movie isn't like a top tier contender, but we see this all the time where like they nominate it like Meryl Streep like 20 times. So like when they love somebody and they clearly love Emma Stone, like they're willing to nominate you for anything, regardless of like, if you're doing the same thing or if you're working with the same person. I just think that she hasn't missed really anything yet, and it feels like a transformative role for her and such a physical role for her as well. So that's why I think she'll squeak it in over Cynthia, which I think that movie is very vulnerable in a lot of places. And Die My Love, and that's the thing about Die My Love and Hedda and If I Had Legs I'd Kick You and some of these other, and Testament of Ann Lee.
Well, that was going to be the next question I wanted to ask before we move on to Best Actor is Amanda Seyfried, because it feels like every review I read or every tweet I see about that film is that it's also one of the best performances of the year. And I have seen the film. We obviously haven't reviewed it yet. It doesn't come out for another couple of weeks. So, it's one of these late stage players, how widely seen is it going to be by the time, voting comes around? But I mean, surely she has to be somewhat of a contender here.
She is, but to the point I was going to make is that her, Lawrence, Byrne, Tessa Thompson, I'm sure there's others that I'm not mentioning either. They're really their only chance to get nominated for that film.
Yeah.
And it's so rare that multiple single performance nominees get in. And I know that's another just like, that's another thing where you're like, well, Ryan, that's just ridiculous. I'm like, I understand, JD, it's ridiculous. But this is how it is and this is how it usually is because these performances that are in movies that that all these other branches are talking about.
Yeah.
That helps the performance, I think, along the way get in. Like, I think if the Testament of Ann Lee is being talked about in multiple categories, then I think she could get in. Like, like how I said with Emma Stone, like that's a screenplay category contender and a picture contender category contender and a makeup
Yeah.
category contender and an actor category contender.
Yeah.
But like I see though that Rose Byrne is the only like one because she stands out right now because she has critical support coalescing around her. Now, if Amanda Seyfried, she has Searchlight, which Searchlight's one of the best studios in the world at getting, actresses nominated for Best Actress and then ultimately winning. So maybe she goes in over Emma Stone and just focuses so literally focused on Jessie Buckley that they can't get two in. I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
I have a solution here. I have a solution.
Just nominate them all.
I was going to say, this field is so deep that you could just have two Best Actress categories, honestly.
Well, that's what the Globes did. They really solved the problem for you.
Again, God love them, but I would remove Julia Roberts and I would remove Kate Hudson. Those would be the two. So then the other 10 here, I think, are good enough to be nominated. I genuinely believe those 10 are worthy. So just have a second Best Actress category this year. That's
just take out. I would take. You ready for this? Okay. I would take Julia Roberts out, put Kate Blanchett in for Black Bag, and then over in what do you call it? In comedy or musical, you take Kate Hudson in the Song Sung Blue of it all. Take her out. Just performance, for God's sakes. And either put in Elizabeth Olsen for Eternity if you want to consider that a comedy. Because what is a comedy these days, JD?
Yeah.
Or put in Dakota Johnson for Materialists. Because again, what is a comedy these days? Or if you don't want to do any of that, Mia Throbbleton for Phoenician Scheme. Put her in there for
I would be down for that too.
So see, we could do this all day, day.
And I was talking about it more in the context of the Oscars, where we don't even have to
add them in there.
Deliberate between.
We're not even talking about Jodie Foster in A Private Life, who's very good, or Laura Dern in This Thing On,
Yeah, another great performance that I love as well. Let's move on to actor. As much as I could talk about actress all day.
Oh, and we didn't even mention Ava Victor, who got nominated.
Loved seeing that. That was really inspired as well. Same exercise though, but for actor, how would you whittle down these 12 nominees?
So the top spot, I have Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
I think Leo's going to walk away with that win. Because he's in the Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
And in tight races, we've seen. I keep saying this, and I hope everyone knows that listens to me. I'm not trying to be a broken record, but I'm going to keep saying this because, again, JD knows, like, you're showing me the path and you're showing me the math. This is all I can report, which is like in tight races, the Academy has leaned in acting categories, specifically actor and actress. If they have the Best Picture winner inside those acting races, they have leaned to the best actor. They have leaned towards that film winning the acting Oscar. And I will use this as an example. With Frances McDormand, when we were all trying to figure out who's going to do that, and Carey Mulligan's Train and all that crap for Promising Young Woman, it ultimately went to Nomadland, and so that's why Frances McDormand won.
Yeah.
Same thing with Michelle Yeoh. Same thing with Cillian Murphy. Same thing with Mikey Madison last year. The only time this didn't happen was in 2021. And I'm telling you, to this day, if Amelia Jones was in Best Actress, she would have that Oscar and not Jessica Chastain. This is just how they are, because they have been down balloting when it comes to it because of the inevitability of what's winning Best Picture. And that's not to say that bad performances are winning these things. It's just in these tight races, that seems to be what some of the overall votes totals get to. Because like Demi Moore, everybody thought she was going to win it last year. It didn't happen. And then you look at Chalamet last year. Everybody really thought that. Well, The Brutalist won the second most Oscars. So you could say that on the night that was the runner-up. And so that means that film was closer of winning picture and had more support and then that means that movie stood a better chance of winning that close prize. So I think Leo would have that. Then I would have Wagner Moura, because I think he's showing sign of strength. That movie is climbing up. He won Best Actor at Cannes. I don't see that, and also you got to remember the Brazilian vote in the Academy is so strong. He's going to get in.
Yeah.
And shout out all Brazil. Love them all. I'm not going to say anything bad because I'd like to live. So go against the Brazilians at your own pace. Timothy Chalamet from Marty Supreme. And then we get to have fun. Like the last two is like throw it up. I think right now Michael B. Jordan is probably in for Sinners.
I was gonna say that.
I'm not supremely confident on it because it could be a Margot Robbie and Barbie situation.
Sure.
Where like he and Coogler miss and a lot of people get pissed off. So like, and that movie is loved in the States, mixed bag in the international branches. Yeah. So like just.
It is a very American movie in a lot of ways.
It's a very American movie. Love it, but it is very much that. Which is weird because...
just real quick, I think that would be such a fun nomination, though, because...
The two performances.
You look at it, or at least when I was watching it earlier in the year, my immediate thought was, this is one of the best films I've seen in a long time. I could see Coogler making director, score perhaps, song. Like all of that made sense to me. Michael B. Jordan, I thought was great, but I just didn't see it translating to Oscar success just because of the type of movie that it is. And, it's coming out in March. It just felt like it had a lot of things working against it. So to see it make it that far, given some of those hurdles, I just think would be really cool to see.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think it's such a difficult performance to do both of those characters. We haven't had a dual performance nominated since Nicolas Cage for Adaptation. Which
25 years ago?
25 years ago, which is insane. Yeah. I think Michael B. Jordan's best work of his career is with Coogler, like what he did as Killmonger and Black Panther and what he did as Adonis and Creed. And I mean, don't even get me started about Fruitvale Station. That's like an all-time performance. Yeah. So, I think he's in for now. I was hesitant at first about it, but I think he's in.
So that's 4. That brings us to 4.
That's 4, and then there's like, man, this is tough because it's like there's 6 guys that could get in. So, or I guess it's 6. We'll find out how many when I count them on my hand. So. There's Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams.
Yep.
There's George Clooney for Jay Kelly.
Yep.
There's Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon.
Yep.
There's Jesse Plemons for Begonia if he goes alongside his counterpart there in Actress. Mm-hmm. Right? There's I still think Jeremy Allen White, because of the biopic of it all, is still right there. Totally got his Globe, even though it's very, very small chance. Yeah. Now everyone thinks I'm going to say Dwayne Johnson here, but I've got another one that people aren't considering, and he got a Globe nomination. And JD, I'm telling you, Frankenstein's a hit with people, and Oscar Isaac is a dark horse contender because I think Jacob Elordi's getting in as supporting actor.
Yeah, as he should.
And I think that movie's going to have like 10, 11 nominations.
Wow.
I would
think
not
the Oscars will follow
surprised.
the Globes in that regard then?
I think that there's like, he's in like a 6 through 10 spot, but he's sneaky in there. And if it happened, 1, I get to call it. But 2,
you would.
It would be wild. It would be wild. Right now, I have Joel Edgerton in Train Dreams in.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Yeah.
I think that's a Netflix actor will get in. I don't think Clooney will be it because I think that movie's starting to fade.
But you don't think they'll get 2?
No.
Okay.
Now the only way they get 2 is I think Michael B. Jordan gets kicked out.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like if Michael B. Jordan misses, then because the other one I'm thinking here is Ethan Hawke. Feels like he's got a lot of support.
that would be someone else too. It's like it's the Netflix who's great at getting nominations versus Sony Pictures Classics who does a great job, at getting their sort of sneaky nominees in. And Hawke's a previous nominee. Edgerton's part of this movie that people like. Once people see Train Dreams, they just are like, "This is an incredible movie. There's no way to not like love." Thing about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's I would say that Hawk is the 6 at this point, and then Clooney's like 7, and then probably. Yeah, then you can start throwing everybody left and right. Do not believe Dwayne Johnson's getting in.
No,
like that's not happening. Thank God, unless SAG does some sort of miracle that I don't know about. But maybe he can get in for Moana next year. So. Did
you hear he's going to be working with Darren Aronofsky?
Great.
So maybe that he'll get his whale, and that'll be his Oscar nom right there.
Yeah, because they handed him out like candy. You know what I mean? Could you imagine if he was like a fat scorpion king, and like he fought Brendan Fraser's The Whale in the afterlife? It's just some of the shit. Yeah. Some of the shit you think of when you're doing such a long Oscar season. But yeah, no. I think it would be. I think Edgerton. Yeah.
I would love that. I would deeply love it for Edgerton to get in there. So that would be a great 5.
I mean, it would. That. I think Ethan Hawke getting in would be great. He's so good. I agree. Blue Moon.
Yeah.
I think Clooney's kind of like sneakily great in.
I agree.
And
I think it is one of his best. When we reviewed Jay Kelly, I said it was his best work since Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like it's in. And I think what Jeremy Allen White does in Springsteen, I'm not a big fan of the film. What he does, like from a vocal standpoint and the musical performances, like it just, I closed my eyes and the boss is standing right there. So
nice, yeah. That's a good 5 though. What you listed out, and really 6. Like that's a really good 6. I love Oscar Isaac, one of my faves. I don't think he should be in the 5, but if he got in, it would be really funny. I couldn't help but be happy for him just because I love him so much, even though I don't think he should be in. But I love the man. So
I'm just saying, it's got passion and
it does. Like there is a lot of passion behind that movie.
There is so much. It is like the streaming numbers for it are insane. I've seen in person. People, voters go absolutely apeshit for all 3 of them. Elordi, Oscar Isaac, Guillermo del Toro. So it's like, I'm not saying it's happening. I'm not predicting it, but I would be like, listen, folks, if it happened, you heard it here first.
There you go. That's why we love Ryan.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, is there another category or 2 you want to quickly that you're passionate about this year aside from acting?
Well,
or at least the top 2 that we just talked about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I told you, I think like the director category is like pretty goddamn stacked. I think I'm really curious about cinematography.
Okay.
Because I think that there could be like there could be some really cool nominations there. Like, I think that's where Train Dreams could get in. That's where F1 could get in. That's where, obviously, like Sinners and Hamnet and One Battle After Another and a movie that like, and then Frankenstein could get in there too. Like, there's a lot of like really visually beautiful films that could get in. There's I think like a movie like Hedda should be considered, like Sean Bobbitt's sort of a genius cinematographer for me. But like I want to say, and I want to highlight this one real quick and then we can start wrapping up, JD, is that the best casting award.
Which is let's talk about category. That how do you feel about that? Because it's new, there's no precedent to really
Yeah.
consider or look at. So how do you see that unfolding?
So it can go, I think, one of two ways. And I think it's going to be really fascinating. And I hope it goes one way over the other. Like the
Okay.
way you could think about it is like what some people might think about is that, this is like an ensemble award. And it's like, no, that's not what this is. This is not another version of SAG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if voters think of it like that, I'll be kind of disappointed, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
But on the flip side of it, it's supposed to be about like the best casting decisions. They have
Yes.
like books where they explain the process of this. It's a showcase just like kind of any other below the line category. They have to do like showcases and stuff like that. And really they kind of align with finding discoveries. That's what the BAFTA really awards that, like the Holdovers won it a couple of years ago. That's for finding something like Dominic Sessa. Last
Makes
year,
sense.
Honora won it. It's for finding someone like Mikey
Makes
Madison for this
sense.
breakout performance. So that's where
Interesting.
like
Okay.
Sinners and that's where One Battle After Another play right into that, even though they're front runners like Miles Canton and Chase Infinity fit right into it. You know, Hamnet fits into that.
I was going to say
Jacoby
Hamlet
Jupe.
makes sense.
You know,
Yeah.
like that makes so much sense. But then if I'm thinking about best casting, like it's not in my field right now. It's like in a 6 through 10, but like I think of best casting, I don't know how a movie like Weapons, when you find out that like they had to overhaul the entire cast and they found Amy Madigan and the only one that carried over was Austin
That's a great
Abrams and all
point.
that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like when you hear about that, it's like, well, then how the fuck is that not the casting award of the year? Like how is that how is that not the thing that gets in there? And so I hope it's just not a situation where largest, most famous cast gets in, because then that's where like a Jay Kelly falls into it. You know what I mean?
Well, Jay Kelly is one of those that I think would be kind of inspired, actually.
It would be, because I think some of the younger actors in it that have to play him and play, and there's a lot of
that
specificity in those performances.
And I think about the meta layers of that film and Jay Kelly as a character and the marrying of George Clooney. Like there's like, because so much of that film and the writing of Jay Kelly is essentially setting Jay Kelly up as a George Clooney-esque actor, and then the film deconstructs that as it goes. And Clooney's performance has to match that deconstruction, which is why I think it's one of his best performances in a really long time, and why that final line that he has at the end of the film is such a stinger. And so I find that inspired as well.
No,
like it's a different perspective than what you've been talking about, although it certainly couples with the younger versions of those actors as you're talking about. But I think the casting of Clooney as that character, like no one else could really play that role given how the character is written.
Well, that's what they kind of talked about. Is this like there's only like 3 people that could play this.
Yeah.
Like him, Denzel, and Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
And George Clooney told, like at a Q&A in New York I was at, he told Noah Baumbach, he kept joking about it. He was just like, well, Tom was busy and and Denzel didn't pick up the phone, so it was just me, and so it was very funny. It was very funny.
But I think that works really well. Like I think that's inspiring.
No, I hope it is about the casting decisions and not about an ensemble award, because we can freaking Critics' Choice did that, where it's like it's best casting and ensemble. I'm like, no, those are 2 separate things, and they should always be 2 separate things.
Yeah.
Because when you start mixing that, then people just assume the lazier way of thinking about it usually rules. So I hope people in the Academy, because it took a long time for these casting directors to get their own award, I hope that the Academy kind of sees that like this is, takes it seriously, takes the category seriously. So
yeah, and you kind of wonder if maybe it takes a few years for them to
kind
of get their feet wet with that category,
because this might also just be like they might award just people that have been doing this a long time and throw the caution in the wind about what the film is or what the situations are, because they're like, well, this person hasn't won, and so
Yeah,
There you go.
for sure. Well, thanks for being here, Ryan. Always
Thank you,
love
sir.
Talking with you. This was really great. Tell us about all the fun things you guys are doing over at Awards Watch.
Well, we are. There's so many things going on. We have our main show that's released every Monday, mostly, and we have like editor episodes like this to sort of, wrap up the week or talk about what's going on the race, and then we have the Director Watch podcast with myself, and if old InSession Film listeners know, myself and Jay Ledbetter, we break down directors' filmographies one episode at a time. We're wrapping up Claire Denis, and then we start the new year, and I'll give everybody here, it's as an old hometown discount. I'll give you guys the sneak peek for the first 2026 movie series, and we're talking about the films of Warren Beatty.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yes, and so we've got all 26 lined up already. It's there's some insanely big names that I'm super excited about. I have to get JD and Brendan to come on for one of them.
Yes.
Sure. And then all my reviews and interviews are over at awardswatch.com. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, Ryan McQuade 77. And if you find me online, just be kind to me. I'm a fragile man.
Yeah. Exactly. We're all fragile these days.
We're all fragile these days. Like we're just trying to talk about movies in a way that's constructive.
I just want to celebrate movies.
I just want to celebration, good times. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Also want to note, first, be sure to go and follow Ryan on social media and everything they do at Awards Watch. It's great stuff. Always love what you guys are doing over there. But as I noted earlier, Ryan is coming back shortly and just another few weeks as we are recording this, as we will be doing a review for Avatar Fire and Ash. Big Jim, him and Jay Ledbetter will be back to talk about that movie. I'm very, very excited to get into that one. Brendan will, of course, be there for that as well.
Yeah, we're all going to ride a whale to get to that that recording. It's going to be awesome.
Cannot wait to talk about whale court drama. It's going to be great.
The Kane Mutiny whale court martial,
It's going to be the best.
What a silly movie we're about to talk about.
I know, it's very silly. But I love Goat Cameron. Yeah. So we'll talk about that film here very shortly with Ryan. In the meantime, this week we have reviews for Jay Kelly that is available if people want to go and check that out. And also, Brendan and I had a really fun conversation on Kelly Reichardt's The Mastermind.
Great movie.
Do encourage people to check that out as well. There was a Chasing the Gold earlier in the week. Shadon and Erica broke down the Golden Globes nominations if you want to go and hear that. And there will be a new woman in session at the end of the week. As always, they're doing fantastic work. Big thanks to Dave and all the writers at InSessionFilm.com. Always putting up great stuff on the website if you want to go and check out the written content over there. I guess that's it. As always, follow us on social media, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, however you're listening. Be sure to subscribe. I really do love that. I think that's it. Any final thoughts, Ryan, before we get out of here?
No, just tip your waiting staff.
Yeah, I very much do agree with that as well. And if you're a college football coach, always do the right thing.
Always
Stay
do
married.
The right thing.
Yes.
Never do the wrong thing.
Never do the wrong thing ever.
Listen, some things are not worth $12 million.
Nope.
Nobody's worth it. Nope.
It's not.
Doing the wrong thing is not worth losing $12 million.
No. It's not worth losing your job over. Let's just say that. All right. Well, with all that said, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the InSession Film Podcast.